Hello everyone, I'm JACK4L and I'm gonna play Hotline. Timer will start as I hit the start game in 3, 2, 1, go. Since you're watching a marathon exclusively dedicated to action games, I reckon I don't really have to tell you about what Hotline is about. Um, so in Hotline we have masks, 26, that's a lot of them. During the entire run, I'm gonna use only one of them. It's Brandon. So his ability is to walk 30% faster than the other masks. Um, most other masks move at 3 units per frame. Brandon moves at 4. Amongst some other good masks, there's Sandy, whose ability um, is to have little fists, and Jake with little claws. But Brandon is just considered as a supreme mask, quote unquote. There are some levels where Tony is more optimal, and it's not technically forbidden to change masks during levels. It's just pretty unoptimal. Not only cycling through masks costs time, it also ruins enemy cycles, which causes your time loss. So about category, NG plus all levels is the main category of the game, with no level skips involved, which is understood by executing enemy either over or under the car in a specific way, so we can flip through it and then skip the level altogether. In all levels we don't do that. It's just pure gameplay at this point, quote unquote. There are some minor skips. I refer to them as minor floor skips. Those are relatively easy to understand. There's nothing like particularly sophisticated about them. Yeah, so overdose is only level with these yellow walls and I can shoot through them. It's a pretty interesting mechanic, but yeah, it's only for me to this level. There are also, except for 20 levels of the main story, there are also bonus 2 levels. Yellow walls also is one of them, but they are not included in this category. So as you could probably notice, onto the some floors I want to enter them with a gun, and other times with a melee weapon. Both of them has their pros and cons, which makes quote unquote good round to use roughly guns and melee weapons in 50-50 proportion. So guns aren't that good as you could imagine. Bullets have really small hitboxes and enemies have 25% chance to survive a bullet. So if I have M16, for example, I have to optimally shoot the singular enemy with a burst of 3 to 4 shots. While melee weapons hitbox is 16.16 square. Yeah, so tension is quite a difficult level. I have to focus for a second. There we go. So yeah, I'd like to give you a quick headphone warning, then ask me what will happen. In 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go. So in this game, enemies tend to wield 4 different enemy types of melee weapons and 3 types of guns. Amongst guns we have M16, which has 24 bullets, contrary to real-life M16, which has either 20 or 30. There's a pump shotgun which has 6 bullets, 6 bullets, but it shoots really slow at like 13 frames cooldown, so that's a half of a second because Hotline is consistently capped at 60 FPS as seen in left top screen. And double barrel, as you can see, it's 2 rapid shots with huge spread. The run is going good so far. Yeah, so next up we have clean hit, and I want you to pay attention because there's quite an interesting mechanic in there. Yeah, I didn't need this. Yeah, something can happen. Yeah, there we go. So if you can see this man, he cannot target me as long as I'm pretty close to this wall. It does not happen with standard enemies, though. Yeah, and as you can see, that man did not react as I shot many times. It's because enemy speed finding in this game is really bad. It tends to break when either player or the AI is close to wall. Solid objects tend to heavily disturb with fighting paths. So Neighbors introduces these guys who can be killed only with firearms. Sometimes they do dying animation and they can block bullets still, which is annoying. Neighbors by itself is a really good level. I like it a lot. It's pretty chill. Yeah, now what happened there is quote-unquote domino knockdown. If you kill someone, they drop a weapon, and if that weapon collides with the enemy, they get knocked down like that. I can't really tell if it's intended mechanic or not, but it's obnoxious, especially for speedrun purposes. Yeah, so right now we have a boss fight. Yeah, this guy is a boss. So his movement is entirely dependent on my movement. So I can sort of manipulate him like that. So he can throw the cleaver in this door like that. Yeah, so I wanted him to get stuck in this door, which doesn't happen often, but I have a grant for that. So I can show you a little trick if I can get this to work. Nice. So what I did there is, beforehand the fight, I pressed space inside the elevator, and I wanted to execute him in very specific spots so I could temporarily get stuck in the wall as well. So what developers did there, they knew that player can occasionally get stuck in the wall while executing. So what they did is they would say the player back to the coordinates, they press space to initiate the execution. But the thing is, you don't need to press space to execute Biker, you just have to get on top of him. Hence why I could warp to the elevator instead. Save like 5 seconds. Now we're on to part 3, and it's the best part of the game. Very intense levels with very high sailing, quote unquote. So the IGT timer we can see in top left corner is quite inaccurate, because the time that gets elapsed during these apartment intermissions is also considered. So to obtain real time elapsed during levels, you have to like subtract 10 or 11 seconds, sometimes even more, depending on level. Yeah, so this is pretty unique floor when I don't have to kill everyone, since the level ending trigger will activate as I kill 11 out of 14 enemies. So as you can see, this game is mostly about understanding how AI works. Of course, about mechanical skill. You know, sharp turning, properly aiming to people, and so on. Yeah, I have to focus now because hot and heavy, as good level it is pretty hard. Yeah, so I also forgot to mention about the melee weapons. They actually differ between one another. For example, this knife is the best of them all because I don't need to time my hits. I can just hold left click and I cannot die as long as aim. I made an intentional death before entering this floor, and I will explain why second. So those are accolades, and for some reason, if I die, many of these accolades are removed. We don't know why, but we know that for hot and heavy specifically, it saves like 2 or 3 seconds of time. Yeah, so infamous thing about Deadline is mostly its second floor, and it's really pain in the ass of a level if I don't get a rifle spawn onto there. With pump gun, it's really unhandy. Now I got quite a lucky spawn of MP5 there. Those are called random spawns. Those are weapons that spawn in very specific spots. They're completely randomized. Sometimes there might be good melee weapons, good firearms like that MP5, or just some useless junk that introduces problems. Position or where they have gunshot from, but they cannot enter the aggressive state from directly from investigating state, only from passive state. The dogs, you see sometimes some mafia levels working the same way. Yeah, so what I did there is I punched the guy through a wall, because developers did not program his hitbox to be blocked by a wall. It's pretty cool because it saves a lot of time, and everyone can do that as long as they're, aware of its existence. This is a very tricky segment. Yeah, I don't have a rifle, whatever. I can go for an aggressive strat. Normally what we do here is to enter this level with the rifle and just rush towards like 8 people, assault rifle, and then pray that wacky hitboxes and RNG of surviving bullets won't screw us up. Personally, I have a lot of problems with that, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so this is a final chapter of the game, but we still have one more part to go. So this will not be the time yet. Yeah, it can sometimes happen for some reason that if I pick up the trophy, I will instantly chop it down. We don't know why this happens. It just happens like this. Yeah, so this is a conclusion of the story of the main protagonist, Jacket. We're now going to play entirely different character, and it's going to be the same guy against whom we fought with neighbors. You know that level we warped inside the elevator? So his playstyle is quite different. First of all, he cannot use any firearm, he cannot pick up any enemy's weapons, but he has some weapons of his own. Like Meat Cleaver, that like knife has no inactive frames per swing, and free throwing knives of perfect accuracy. Also, he moves 15% faster, which technically means he has half of a bonus speed of Brandon. So the following level is going to be the last actual level of the game, because the remaining two of them are just for story concluding purposes. It's an interesting level though. The interesting thing about AI gunmen is that they react frame slower before they're actually allowed to shoot. Frame yeah, defined by 13 frames. Yeah, hopefully I can go. Yeah, this can happen. Enter the tie up with the wall at as sharp angle as possible. Sometimes it can happen that Jacket just gets stuck inside the wall, and this causes a soft lock, so the time will stop as I lose control of the biker as he collides with his motorbike. There we go, that's the time. Yeah, I don't have my browser enabled so I can check what the time is like, but I think it's pretty good. Yes. Yeah, I have nothing else to say, so enjoy the rest of the stuff. That's it from me. See ya.